welcome to Ask Me About K-Pop, the essential guide for season converts and season fans alike. My name is Shannon.
And I'm Alike.
And welcome to another movie club episode.
I love this new trend of being able to see K-pop movies in theaters.
It's really great. It's really great. So we went and saw the new 17 movie, 17 The Power of Love, the movie. And we took really hard to decipher in the dark notes, and it was also a week ago. So I'm a little worried there might be some holes in this recap, but we did receive so many emails and voice memos from Carats all over the world who also saw this movie. So I think all together we're going to be able to fill in all the gaps and give a good picture of the movie.
Yeah, I am like 95% confident in my version of the set list. I have a few questions or a few songs that I'm like, maybe I got this wrong, but for the most part, I think I got all the titles right. But yeah, this was another like sort of concert / documentary movie. We weren't really sure what we were getting ourselves into because I had completely missed the like initial run of this movie in theaters. I guess I wasn't paying attention, but what we saw last week was an encore showing. So they had like run the movie kind of like the Monster X movie with just a couple of dates back maybe like a month or so ago. And then they brought it back because it was really popular.
So thankfully we all got another chance to see it. So last Wednesday, like same as we did for the Monster X movie, and I guess warning ahead of time now, in the Monster X movie we kept bringing up the SM documentary because it was the only one we'd seen, and I feel like today we'll probably
bring up the Monster X one a lot. Yeah,
because we're trying to figure out what this genre of K-pop concert movie like even means. So anyway, same as Monster X, we went down to the Universal City Walk at Universal Studios to check out the movie.
Yeah, there were more people in the theater for this one. I would say there was like 20 to 30 people that were like in multiple groups. I feel like at the Monster X one there was just like 2 or 3 other groups with us, but one of them was really big.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there were more people in this theater.
But we were sitting like there was like 2 separate like sections. There's like the up high part and the down low part, and we were like there was only one other pair with us in the down part, and they literally did not move, did not blink, did not clap, like just sat there completely still the whole movie. But I think I could hear people behind us being more rowdy. But again, it was loud. It was so loud.
Oh my God. The whole thing, even from the like trailers to like to the ending credits, was so loud. I like should have worn earplugs. I didn't even think about it, but I guess I'm getting to that age where like movies are too loud. But I also was like, wow, it's so loud that I don't even feel self-conscious about singing along because you can't hear me. I
can't even hear myself.
Yeah, I could barely hear myself. The thing I did get self-conscious about was how much dancing I was doing, because I was like, I hope I'm not like moving the entire row of seats because these people are statues.
Yeah, like, they like literally didn't move. And I also wondered what the people behind us thought, because a lot of moments, like if like Boo was hitting a crazy high note, I would just like raise my arms like, wah! Yeah. So I don't know, but it sounded like people were maybe having more fun in the back. So I hope it didn't feel like a rowdy screening or anything.
It definitely was not rowdy.
But I think people were trying to have a little bit of a good time back there. I think.
But so the general premise of this movie, which we didn't know at the beginning of it, we weren't sure like what it was going to be. And kind of like in the Monster X, we were curious, like, are you going to introduce the members? Like, are we getting like a timeline documentary of like 17. Who is 17? And no, that's not really the purpose of this movie. The goal of this movie is to just create like a sort of making of for the Power of Love concert series, which was an online concert that they put on fairly recently. And that obviously went with their last album, Attica. But so the whole thing was in that same way of Monster X, kind of about the concert that they're putting on. But unlike Monster X, they did not ever once reference the fact that they were making a movie about it.
Right. Right, that was not part of it.
Yeah.
But like the movie, I mean, there was, first of all, there was a bajillion trailers for this movie.
So many.
Which I wondered if it was like, had something to do with the way that Hybe released it or something. Because I feel like the Monsta X movie had a single Spider-Man trailer, a trailer for like the opera, watch the opera at the movies, and then a commercial for the new Monsta X album. And that was it. This was like a full 20 minutes of like just a bajillion trailers.
And like all kinds of different movies, like not just like music related documentaries or whatever. But yeah, so tons and tons of trailers.
But I needed, a trailer came up and I needed to write it down just because I don't know if I'll ever get another chance to say this on the show. But there was a trailer for Baz Luhrmann's new Elvis movie. And it has been discovered lately through things that Baz Luhrmann has been posting on Twitter about the Elvis movie that he is like a deep Shawwal. Baz Luhrmann loves Shiny and keeps making comparisons to like Elvis went to the military and Shiny had to go to the military.
I saw
he
his
follows
post
all
about
of them
Shiny
on Instagram.
going to the military just like Elvis. Yeah. Or Elvis going to the military just like Shiny.
Yes, exactly.
That's an important distinction.
But I had to write that in my notes so that I would remember to bring it up in case anybody didn't know that. But I love that.
Yeah, that's really fun.
I love that. But yeah.
All right. So the movie opens. And
Hybe logo.
Yes, Hybe logo. Because in case you're wondering who's putting this movie together, it's Hybe. And we open with like fan chants.
17.
And we get footage of like insanely huge crowds at stadium concerts with like all their light sticks, etc. And we get a voiceover from Uzi, who's talking about how it was never his childhood dream to be a celebrity. And then we cut to like different member one shots and interviews where they're all dressed so like nicely in kind of like fall outfits, like sweaters and jackets, and they're in this like brick room with a director's chair. They're like sitting in a director's chair, like alone doing the interview. And they obviously came like one at a time because there's a few points in the movie where one of them will be like, is Coops going to be here later or whatever? Like, has he done his yet? But so then anyway, it's just like a montage of the different members talking about what they wanted to be when they grew up, when they were kids. And most of them did not want to be idols. I think Dino was the only one who was like, I always wanted to be a celebrity. Like after I saw Michael Jackson, I wanted to be a dancer. And so we just get like their childhood ambitions. And then we get concert footage of like VCRs and crowd shots. And DK and Coops start talking about what it took to like prepare for the Power of Love concert. And this was I was confused because they were showing footage of what I later assumed is from their like Ode to You tour. Like that's where all the crowd footage was from. But the way that they opened this and set it up, I thought the Power of Love concert was like their first concert post-pandemic of like first concert back with a crowd. It is not,
because that just incorrect. Crowds just came back like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. But so I was confused, like because they kept showing so much footage of the crowd, but the crowd was not there. This was an online concert, and it opens with "Crush." So that's our opening number. Anything to say before we talk about the opening track?
No, just my only thing was I thought it was interesting that both this movie and the Monsta X movie like started exactly with the same voiceover, somebody being like, my dream? Like they both started with like, we're talking about dreams. And then I also thought it was really interesting that after that part of them all saying what they wanted to be when they grew up, they just very, very quickly like told the story of 17, but not real, just like very quickly were like, and then we trained and then we debuted and like cutting between them. And it was like, it felt like a really rushed, like, here's what 17 is, I guess. Moving on. Like they weren't trying to like actually introduce them or tell.
And they made no effort to name any of the members. No. There were no title cards or anything. Like you already know who these people are, or else what are you doing in the theater? Yeah. So then we get the
concert, the Crush. And this I like was immediately like taken aback by the first like moment of the concert of it all, because the way that they filmed this one felt so different from every recorded pandemic concert I have watched so far, where like usually pandemic concerts seem to have like a music show amount of cameras where you get the like one wide of the stage and like
Yeah.
a close up, but this felt like it was filmed like a concert DVD.
Yes, absolutely.
Like there were cameras far away and all over the place, and there was a camera for all 11 of them that were there.
Yes, and it didn't feel like a sound stage.
Yeah.
Like the other pandemic concerts or online concerts, I thought all felt like they were in a small
In a really little room.
And this felt like it was at a stadium. And like
And that they just weren't showing us the audience.
Exactly. They just weren't showing the crowd. And like the sets were really elaborate, like way more elaborate than the rest of the online concerts I've seen. And I'll like mention a few of the different like stages or whatever that they did. But it was just it seemed like a stadium scale concert in a way that the other online ones didn't. But so it opens with them like making a super dramatic entrance. Everybody's wearing black. They have like different black bedazzled sparkly jackets.
Yes.
And they do Crush without China Line. I noticed that like halfway through the number because I was like so ecstatic. I love Crush, such a great opening number choice. And their mics are all on, they all sound great. And then like halfway through I was like, wait, that line belongs to me now. And then I noticed the China Line wasn't there.
And it was confusing because before the song had started, we had seen China Line give their little director chair interview. So they were in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess it just like there was disconnect. Like, oh, I guess they weren't here for the filming of the concert.
Yes,
part.
and it becomes a little odd like after this because they are, like you said, included in the interviews, but it is not addressed that they are not there for another several songs. Like I made note of when they finally addressed
said
it.
something.
But like they just I for a good like 20 minutes I was like, are we just gonna pretend that they are there? Because like I noticed that they are not there. But whatever. So after Crush, we cut back to interviews and the members are discussing like what it was like to perform without a crowd. So this is where my question was answered of like, wait, is there a crowd at this concert? Especially because of like you were saying the way it was filmed, I would have believed that there was a crowd there. So then, you know, Dino talks about how it's it's like their first online concert that they're doing without an audience. So the whole Power of Love was like I think 3-day concert event or something because they have like 3 different versions of the concert. And this movie is featuring the Love version.
Okay.
So the members talk about how they didn't have the energy of the audience, but they wanted to take advantage of having the cameras. So they tried to, like, when staging the performance, think about how they can sort of like blend the idea of like a concert with having the advantage of like being able to manipulate the cameras, which was cool because there were certain shots where they had like overhead shots and you could see like the whole choreo from like an eagle eye view. So they did a lot of cool stuff with it. And then we went back to the concert for Anyone.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. There's actual walls of fire like coming out of the stage.
Oh my God, the amount of indoor fireworks in this movie was fucking crazy.
Yeah, so many fireworks, so much like actual fire, just like flames in front of their faces. And I wrote that you could see you could feel the bass in your bones because it was so goddamn loud.
It was so loud.
But yeah, I don't know. My notes for this are just like melty. I just have like Winky Coops, rude, vocals like butter, DK my angel. And then I wrote down that they did an extra dance break and that the whole choreo just goes so hard.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that.
Yeah.
I would agree with all of that. Yeah, I found myself just deeply overwhelmed so many times by so many moments and shots. And I like don't think I wrote enough of them down specifically, but...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tried to like frantically like scribble like anytime something in particular happened, and it usually just ended up being like an initial with like exclamation points, and I would be like, "Oh, Jonghan did something."
Yes.
What? I don't know.
Jonghan did a lot of things. I feel like the person who got some of the most like reaction out of me were like some of these Jonghan like moments that were like, "Oh my God,
he's just so pretty. He's so freaking pretty. It's crazy. It's crazy." But anyway, after Anyone, we get the first of these like little transitions, which becomes kind of a motif, but not really.
But not really. Yeah.
And that is that we see this like retro TV, obviously set up in the same room that all of the other interviews are happening. And it shows a title card, which this one says The Beginning. And then played on the TV, so the camera is like filming the television, and that's how we watch this footage. We see a montage of footage from the 17 project, which is their pre-debut project, and a voiceover from the members like explaining that they had to get 1,000 people for the stage and like what was happening.
And the part where their parents surprised them.
Yeah, because that's a whole that's like a whole series that they did before they debuted, where they basically had to like earn their debut, and they had to get 1,000 people to go to the stage, and then afterward their parents surprise them and present them with their rings, and it was like, oh my god, the tears, everybody cried, I cried, everyone cries. But anyway, so then we got interviews, and the members reflect on like the beginning, and they talk about like their first music show win, and we get on the little TV a montage of their first music show wins. They talk about how everybody cried, even Woozy.
And my only note for this segment is that I noticed that Ming Hao's little director's chair outfit was like a monotone version of what Bert on Sesame Street wears, because he had a little turtleneck and like a V-neck striped sweater, but instead of it being like brightly colored, everything was beige. But I was like, Bert, he's dressed like Bert, and that's all I wrote down for this part, because I wanted to remember.
A worthy note. Worthy note. So then we go back to the concert for Clap. But it opens with...
This was absolutely crazy.
Uzi alone on the stage, fucking wailing on the electric guitar in a way that we've never seen him do before.
He was Prince. He was Prince, his little self and his guitar just like wailing.
Yes. And then we get this extended dance intro with, again, actual fire, before we finally get to the like iconic etc. And then it ends. They did like I said, they extended the dance, and at the end they do this like extended dance break where Vernon like break danced. How do you say that in past tense? Broke dance? I don't know. He did some break dancing, which he pulled off. He did well. And then they did like a bit where all of the members like had to repeat whatever move he did, and they like all failed at it. They did it very poorly, and Coops was super giggly, and it was cute.
I think that must be, I truly can't read most of my notes, but I think I wrote like silly, sweet, and frantic or something. I don't know what I wrote, but I think I was trying to like capture that they got really silly at the end of Clap.
Yes, it started super serious, and then it ends on like kind of a goofy note, which was fun. So then we cut back to interviews, and this was kind of strange because we cut to Coops sitting in his little director chair, and he straight to the camera introduces himself as S. Coops and like greets the Carats that are like coming to the movie. But he's the only member who introduces himself. Nobody else does. And all the rest of the members just start to define or discuss like what is the power of love. Yeah, and like what is love, and when do you feel the power of love? And I just have carrots. Like that's my only note, because they basically just say like whenever they interact with the Carats, and they talk about it in different ways.
Mingyu said something funny about like pinky, like love is something about like pinky, happy rose. Like he said something really silly, and I was like, you're weird. Yes.
Yeah, so this was just kind of like it went back and forth. It included like shots of them sitting in the chairs, but then it also had like a montage of like a dramatic photo shoot with like voiceovers of their interviews or whatever. And that photo shoot comes back a couple of times, but I don't know. Like,
but only in like the same like B-roll-y way of like having something while they're talking.
Having something that isn't just them sitting in the chairs. So then we're back into the concert, and this time we're doing Crazy in Love. And Wonwoo is going to start us off because like Crazy in Love has a cool like theatrical opening where he's like writing with a quill. And this had like a whole built up set of like a library office.
It was like a mystery romance novel, like something. Like,
and yeah, he gets to do this like extended like instrumental like drama walk and like bring you into the performance of it all. And he's wearing red eyeshadow and he looked so fucking good. He looked so good. They're all wearing the same black outfits, but now they took their jackets off. So they're just like wearing different like blousey pirate shirts and then they're like nice fitting pants. Everyone has different boots. Everyone has like different cuts. Each one of them has their own little like style. And I wrote down that Jonghan was wearing waist jewelry. He has like a whole necklace all around his waist and it was dangly and it was great.
I loved this. I love this song. I love this choreo. Seeing it really big was really great. The choreo is so good. And everyone like so booty popping and acting so coy. And like, oh my goodness, 17.
And like Joshua's chest is so big. And then just like seeing it even bigger on the screen was like, sir, put your jacket back on, please. Put them things away. All right, so then we're cutting back into some interviews. And now we have a Network Love instrumental behind this because now June mentions that China Line is not there.
Okay, yeah.
So finally, I mean, this is like 1, 2, 3, 4 songs in,
right?
At least a good 20 minutes. Now we're addressing the fact that June and Minghao have not been in any of these stages. So June talks about how they had like scheduling in China that prevented them from being there for the online concert. They had like gone home to spend time with their families, and then I think they each had like different solo activities as well. They don't really go into the details of that. That's just what I remember from when it actually happened. And June and then Minghao talk about the LED stage that they prepared for Network Love at the Power of Love concert, because Network Love is a song with all the international members, so June, Minghao, Vernon, and Joshua, and it is about like connecting through the internet and like having, you know, like internet friends or whatever. And so they did this LED stage where like Minghao and June were projected, like their parts were just like projected on big screens while Vernon and Joshua like were on the stage with the dancers. And Minghao was talking about how like it fit the theme of the song, so they felt like it was a good substitute for the fact that they couldn't be there. And then we cut to that stage. Yes. So we get to watch Network Love. And I just wrote, everyone shut the fuck up. I need 5 million hours. Those are my notes in all caps.
It was so much. It was so much.
So
like
good.
I don't know if other performances of this had existed previously, but I had never seen such thing before. And watching like Vernon and Joshua do this like very like voguey like little dance. I was like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. It was great. So we have like a big black stage that has like LED screens all around it. So like June and Minghao like pop up to like sing their verses and stuff and like the chorus. And then Vernon and Joshua are in the middle, still in their like black outfits, and they have only lady backup dancers.
Oh, right. The ladies. Oh my God.
And then the ladies are also all in black. And they do like you said, like very like little voguey, like feminine, like sexy, little, like, subtle, like, groovy choreo. And they do the exact same moves as the girls. Like it's all very synchronized. And there's like really good moments of like partner dances. And there's moments where like the partners become like a little foursome. So almost like you could imagine that June and Minghao would normally be the ones there, but the girls like stepped in to round out the 4. And it was great. It was just so good.
The only thing that surprised me about it, or I thought would be different based on the intro that like June and Minghao had done, is that I thought there were going to be way more shots of them on the LED blocks that were actually on the stage, like, you know, like life-size versions of them also doing the choreo. But for the most part, they were like big, scary 1984 heads, like up in the corner. And they were kind of like blue washed. So they like looked like, like we're digital June and Ming Hao.
Yeah,
like,
and they did not do any of the choreo.
No.
They just, even if they did like have a full body shot of them, actually I don't even know if they did ever have a full body shot, if not just like the torso, but they weren't dancing. They were just like standing and singing, which is fine, but it would have been fun if they had done that.
Yeah, I thought they were going to do that whole we're here in digital like dancing on the side thing.
But they did not.
They did not.
But then we transition immediately into Ready to Love. So as if you were actually at a concert, we went straight from Network Love to Ready to Love. And yeah, my only notes are just a bunch of hearts with Boo and DK in all caps because they sounded fucking amazing.
Yeah, they sounded so great. And at this moment, I started to think like, oh, is the point of this being called Power of Love? Like, are they just going to be doing all the songs that have love in the title? Because there have been like 3 in a row: Crazy Love, Network Love, Ready to Love. I was like, oh, fun, it's the love concert. But that's not what ended up happening.
But it is the love version of Power of Love, so not totally wrong. But then we got something interesting and fun, which would have been confusing, I think, if you didn't already know a lot about 17. But then we go into, we're going to get some unit introductions. So we get this like, it says like title card.
But it's like huge letters like going by really like, so you had to read it like performance. It's performance team.
Yeah. So it says like performance team, and we get this like instrument, like a performance team song that's like the instrumental version behind, and we have these like slow-mo close-up shots to like introduce each one of the members. But I don't think they had name cards.
Still no names.
They were just like showing you each one of the members, and then it like said performance team one more time. And we get June explaining like the concept of the team and how they're like dance focused or whatever, and Dino talks about like Hoshi's leadership.
Yeah, that like Hoshi makes them feel like Hoshi never makes them feel like I'm trying to remember how he worded it, but it was just something of like Hoshi will just be like, just do it like this. We'll do it like this. It'll be hard. And they'll be like, okay. Like that they just sort of like trust to do what he says. And that everybody just kind of goes with what Hoshi says, and that they don't have a very like argumentative team.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so that went straight into a Hoshi's solo stage, which the song is called Tiger Power. And this is an unofficial track that was released on June 24th of 2021. So it's just like Hoshi and a bunch of backup dancers, and it's a very like cutesy song. All the backup dancers are wearing school uniforms, and one of them has like a big tiger head. And Hoshi's jacket on the back says, "Music is mine, Gucci seats reclined." I just thought that was hilarious. And then we go to a stage from Dino as well, because I think normally, obviously, this would have been the time for performance team to do their unit songs. But since June and Ming Hao weren't there, they just did 2 solo stages. So the song that Dino performed is called Zero parentheses Hero, and it's from his first mixtape, which was released on February 12th, 2017. So this is an old song that he wrote with Bumzu. He's wearing like eyeliner and like an undone school uniform. He has like his shirt unbuttoned and his tie undone, and the dancers are in the same school uniforms that they were wearing for Hoshi, and they like stay in those outfits for the rest of the show. I think, because they don't really even come back for a while. So that's their next outfit. And we go directly from Zero parentheses Hero to Rock With You.
And they have bedazzled jean jackets on now. That was my biggest all caps note, is bedazzled jean jackets.
Yes. And this was when I was like, okay, this is definitely not in the same order as the original concert, because there's no way that Dino would have been able to make that quick change. Like he wasn't even wearing jeans, so it just wouldn't have been possible. But so they're wearing like Canadian tuxedos, and their
jeans
jackets
were so ripped,
so distressed, like
extremely
ridiculously like from hip to
ankle,
ripped, and the jackets not cute, to be honest.
That was my like next note, bedazzled. Is that when they first came out, I like got really excited because of the sparkle, but the longer the song went on, you could see that they were those really big,
colorful,
like plastic, colorful, like
It made me think
kindergarten
of all
art
of those,
project jewels.
Yeah, all those commercials from the 90s about like owning a bedazzler at home or whatever, and like, look at what you can do to your jackets. And like, so that's what it looked like. It looked like a child made them, is what I'm saying. But I will say that this was a cute, very fun performance, because although it's like not a goofy song, there was like some point where Mingyu like caught the eye of someone who had their back to the camera, and like he started smiling, and then they were just like really like they were obviously making each other laugh, because Mingyu, Joshua, and DK were all like goofy smiley, and it was adorable. So then we go to Hip Hop Team. So this was actually a really fun intro, I thought, because this was, I think, my favorite part of the whole movie, because it started out with this, like, they have like an instrumental of the hip hop songs like in the background, and the like slow-mo shots that are like definitely making them look like so cool. They're the hip hop team. They're the cool ones. And then it just like record scratch like cuts to Vernon being awkward as fuck in the director's chair. And it was such a funny transition. And like this interview, I thought, just really captured their personalities in a way that like a lot of the other bits didn't, because the other bits were like, you know, professional sound bites, and I think like they were obviously like very aware of what it was that they were saying and like trying to present themselves in a certain way. And then this, like, they mostly discuss their writing process.
Yeah. And it was really interesting because they said like, and it all like made so much sense, where it was like Wonwoo just disappears and like comes back with perfect lyrics in one try, and he never gets stuck on anything. And that like, and then when they said like, I don't know how Mingyu writes lyrics, I literally don't. We don't know. Like, we don't know when it happens, but he just always shows up with them somehow. And I don't know. And like, that was very funny.
Yeah, it was adorable. And Coops talked about how he and Mingyu always take the longest time to like finalize their lyrics, because they both care the most about what other people think. So like when they bring their lyrics to the group to share with the rest, they make the most changes. Whereas he's like Wonwoo and Vernon make very few changes to their like original choices. But I just thought it was like one of the more candid moments of the movie, and I really liked it, because I think for most Carats, like the 17's personalities is what really grabs you. Like, their music is fun, but their stages can be overwhelming if you don't like know them. And then once you like see just one thing to see their person, like that's what grabbed me, is like, wow, these guys are goofballs and they're so adorable. But so anyway, talking about their lyric writing process, they transition into talking about Bittersweet, which was a duet, or actually I guess it's a trio because it features Lee Hai, but it's Mingyu and Wonwoo, and they wanted to show a more mature, sexy side of 17. So they
made this like boy love song.
Yeah. With this, like, Lee Hai.
Yeah, this love triangle like thing. So the stage for this I thought was like really beautiful and cool. They had like, there was like so much fog on the stage, like a full blanket of fog. And they started up on this like kind of like little like European bridge thing. And then they went to these two like mirrored living room setups of like a mid-century modern chair and a little hi-fi on the thing and a little lamp. And then they kind of like sang together away from each other. Like,
yeah, they just like sat in their armchairs and sang. And they were wearing the new outfits. They have like dusty, pale, like pink coral pirate shirts.
Yeah, I wrote
like
fluffy
black
shirts.
slacks. And they just sounded so beautiful. Like,
yeah, it was nice.
my main note was just like, oh my gosh, the like raspiness of both of their voices. It's so beautiful. They kept Lee Hai on the track, so like they don't cut out the female voice in it. But then I had like in the margin scribbled in like frantic all caps, Mingyu too handsome. And so then that led us to the hip hop unit stages, which were If I was the first one. And this is another moment of like, this is obviously not in the right order because they're wearing completely different outfits. And If I is actually a song I didn't even know was like a hip hop unit song, but they actually went from, I'm wrong, they did not transition immediately from Bittersweet to the concert performance of If I. They have an interview, they cut to interviews back to the hip hop team who talk about the lyrics for If I, because Coop says that they rewrote.
Yeah, that
the
Mingyu
original
wrote like
lyrics.
a love song or something. And then Coops was like, these are really nice, but I think that I want the song to have a completely different message, so you have to do it again.
Yes.
And, like, that was, yeah.
So they have rewritten the words to reflect where they are now. And Coop says that the first version was cringy.
Yeah, now that like looking back, we made the right choice to change it or whatever.
But so then we go back to them performing this song at the concert, and they're standing in this like LED. They have like an LED like grid like on the stage, which was Monsta X had
Very
a similar stage
to the Monsta X
and
one, where they're in boxes.
Yeah, and they're standing on these like these like LED platforms that like project different images on the bottom. And I wrote 3 suits plus Vernon.
I absolutely hated these outfits. And
they
like
don't match
made
at
a lot of
all.
notes about how they didn't match. And then like I guess it was proved later in the movie, but I still like don't really agree.
They came back. Yeah, everybody was wearing
everyone was wearing this, like when all 11 of them were there in these like mismatched
suits.
outfits, it kind of worked. But having just 4 of them, like Coops's suit was way too big. It was like hugely big. Wanmu looked like a circus master.
Yeah.
Like his was like red striped or something. And then Vernon was wearing like a hoodie under a jacket.
And like a big bomber jacket and baggy jeans. And then Mingyu just looked like probably hot. I don't know. I didn't write down what he was wearing.
I can't read.
It was a suit of some kind. That's all I know. Because I remember thinking that like him, Coops, and Wanmu were at least all in suits. And so like they're like, I know that the patterns and the fabrics didn't go. I remember Coops looking like he was wearing his dad's suit, but I didn't write down what Mingyu was wearing. Anyway, they perform this just like at mic stands in this LED grid. And then at a certain point, they like walk off of the boxes and just like stand and sing it with handheld mics. And they transition immediately from If I to Can't Run Away. And my only note is, well, I'll just cry. Yeah. Because I love that song so much. And they just like stand and they sing it. And every once in a while they do like a hilarious like drama theater walk where you just like cross the stage because there's no choreo, but they're just like, and now I walk over here.
I also thought, I think I remember laughing a little bit during this one because like Mingyu and Vernon like got to like sit on the little blocks, and then the other 2 were standing, and I was just like, oh, are they gonna like switch and give them rest time? But like they didn't, and I just thought it was funny that 2 of them got to sit down,
but only for part of it, because then there was a point where it was like they sang their little verse and then like, okay, I finished my verse and now I take 4 steps across, and then the other one finishes his line and then he takes 4 steps across, and it was just like, it just reminded me of all of my like choir days. So then we get vocal team introduction. And they chose clap, like their instrumental background music for like doing their slow-mo one-shots was clap, which I thought was an odd choice. And I don't know why, because I was like busy taking notes, but DK got bleeped. I don't know what it is that he said, because they asked him like, what is vocal team to you or something, and whatever his answer was, it got bleeped out.
Yeah, I can't remember now either.
Yeah, I don't remember either, but all of the members agree that vocal team is just the weirdos of the group, and they all talk about how like they're the most energetic, and anytime they get together they just get like goofy and they play around, and even though Woozi is like the leader, they really work mostly as a team, and it never like feels like they're taking orders from someone or whatever. And then they introduce, in these interviews, they start talking about same dream, same mind, same night.
And Boo can't remember it.
Boo
he doesn't
cannot remember the title,
is.
which I wrote relatable because I never remember the title to that song.
And then I cheered out loud because in describing this song, Woozi said that they wanted to make a song that sounded like the music they grew up with. And I was like, yes, preach! Because that song is like the most like early 90s freaking, like, I don't know. It captures such a beautiful spirit. So I was glad that they felt that they knew that that's what I saw in it too.
Yeah,
like,
and then it was
made
like
me happy.
It was so purposeful and intentional, and they pulled it off flawlessly. So then we get to watch this stage, same dream, same mind, same night. And they're wearing, again, this is like what I guess they wear in the mismatched stage later, but theirs went way
a little more better
because
together
it's
than
all like
hip-hop's
nautical color scheme, blue, like navy blue, white, and red, and they're all wearing different cardigans. So like they at least like kind of matched, except for
Boo had his apple sweater on.
Yeah, because he had his apple sweater on,
and
it just like
sweater. It was so cute.
It was like a navy blue cardigan with these like monstrous apples. He looked like a little substitute teacher.
I loved
he looked
it.
So cute. I mean, they start out with a step touch, and I like smacked you because I was losing it already. I was like, they literally don't have to do anything, and I'm already dying.
Yeah, I wrote astounding. That was the best in like big letters because I was just like absolutely going through it this whole performance. It was so good. I love this song so much. And they just like absolutely destroyed it.
Yeah, they sounded so incredible. My last note of this is just like an all caps vocal team that like goes slanted off the page. And then just like boo, sung, Kwan with like 1,000 underlines because they sounded so good. And the stage, I said I would mention the sets. They have a whole brand new set that we haven't seen before, and there's this like enormous wavy piano built into the floor. Risers, yeah. So they have like little steps, like the keys are the steps, so they're just like standing on the piano. It looked great. They like really put a lot of money into all these stages. And we went straight from this song to another vocal team song, which I believe was Imperfect Love. However, there were conflicting set lists when I like looked this up and tried, because in the moment I couldn't remember the title of this song.
I couldn't either.
And there were like a few songs that as I was like, I know this song, I can't remember the title of it, so I just like left a blank space to come back to later. And then when they like rolled the credits at the end and like showed the track list, the titles were in Korean, so I like that didn't help me. And so then I had to look it up, and I like looked it up on Wikipedia, and then I looked at like reviews, and then I looked at like Spotify playlists, and I looked at 5 different set lists, and all of them were different. So I think it was Imperfect Love, and if that was wrong, well, it's wrong. But anyway, it's a vocal team song.
Yeah.
So they do another one. They're standing on like mic stands, and they have LED risers. So I guess this is like a different set than the piano?
Maybe. All I wrote is that Boo had eye glitter on.
I wrote that down too.
I was like, Boo Bear eye glitter.
Yeah, so his eye glitter was so pretty. And they just like with mic stands sing this. It sounds beautiful. I wrote DK Sunshine because he was smiling so brightly.
Yeah, then we go back to our vintage TV motif, and it says like the making of Snapshoot.
Yes.
And then we just have a quick interview with Mingyu talking about how he wrote and directed and like
edited and produced
the Snapshoot video by himself, and they did this like little joke where they like pulled him into the side and like had credits like running up really fast where he was the name of every single person or whatever.
Yeah.
But they didn't show us any of the Snapshoot music video, and it felt really contextless. And I was just like, I feel like that was probably confusing if people like had never, like if you've never seen the Snapshoot video, it just felt so random.
It was odd. It was odd. And especially because we hadn't seen the TV motif in a while. We'd only seen it once before at the very beginning where they showed us the
debut
17,
and the first
beginning.
win, yeah.
And then we've just had these like regular director chair interviews and these unit introductions. So the like general format of this movie, similarly to the Monsta X one, I would say felt a little bit directionless. But you had mentioned afterward, it was like, it just seemed like they tried to get them to talk about any song that might have had a story. Like, what can you tell us about this?
What are some stories we can plug in between these songs?
But so Mingyu just said it was like the hardest thing he'd ever done, and he didn't want to do it again. And then we cut to the concert version of Snapshoot, which starts with all the members and the backup dancers on like church risers in a
choir
robes
doing
like a gospel. na, na.
It was so good.
It was great.
So good.
And I just have to say I recognized one of the dancers. The one who was playing the conductor of the choir. He was Kpop's stand-in for their Japanese release 24 Hours.
Oh.
So he is in that music video and in the performance version. He has fluffy hair. Anyway, yeah, so they did Snap Shoot and that was great and fun. And this was where they were all wearing their like weird mismatched outfits.
The next thing I wrote, because I don't know if I like was getting out of order, but I wrote that they did, I don't know if it was at the end of this song or at the end of the next song, but the part where they did the Squid Games and the dance fight, was that at the end of this?
I think it was this one. It makes sense for it to be this one.
They did a whole thing at the end where they like played the red light, green light game from Squid Game, but instead of getting shot, it like took their picture a bunch of times. And then they like did like Boo and Dino did like a dance fight.
Yeah.
Like a really hyperactive, ridiculous like dance fight in the middle of the circle, and they were just acting so wild.
As they're known to do.
Yeah.
So after Snap Shoot, we go back to the TV, and I believe the title card said Brothers, Family, and 17.
Yep, that's what I wrote down.
Great.
So that must be what it said.
And on the TV, we get footage, which I think, if I remember correctly, is from an episode of Going 17. But I could be wrong about what show it's from. But it is just them goofing around in a pool. It was like they played a silly game of like who could jump into the pool, making the like weirdest pose.
And I've seen that episode of that thing, and then it also seemed to have footage of the parts of them recording the opening for Going 17.
Which is from, I had to look it up, and I like literally skimmed through like 20 episodes of Going 17 to find it. It's on episode 7 of Going 17 2019. They make the opening credits they write the song and film the opening credits, and then episode 8 of Going 17 has the opening credits for the first time. But the interviews are the members discussing their relationships with other members. And Woozi talks about how he was the only member
who's an only
child. Yeah, so he came without siblings. But he said, like, we're not trying to prove anything when we say this. We really are just a family. And that was really sweet.
It was cute.
So then they cut back to the concert, and now we have a Japanese title track from April of 2021 called Not Alone. And this starts with Jonghan walking up stairs.
This part literally scared me, and I like wrote down like very frantic notes because I didn't know what was happening, because it was like a staircase to nowhere, and it had no railing, and it was just like open on the edge.
Yeah.
And he just like walked up these stairs by himself and walked like right to the edge, and then like stood and started singing, and I was like, look at your feet, don't step on. Like I was really worried because like that Wendy fell off something like
That's
that.
true.
Like
That is
I was
true.
really worried. And then it was weird. And I think somebody brings this up in one of their emails or voicemails. But like nobody else went up and got, like, I thought that they were maybe all gonna like line up on the stairs, but he just walked right back down them.
No, Wanwoo comes up to get him.
Oh, to get him. Yeah.
He walks up, and then, because I had wrote in my notes, like, oh, one by one, they go up the stairs, and Wanwoo was the only one who joined him on the stairs. And Wanwoo was wearing really ugly, fuzzy brown pants.
They were all wearing,
Burn those pants,
I wrote that
Wanwoo.
the clothes were like orange and that I hated them.
Yeah, I didn't hate the overall color scheme, even though I don't particularly like burnt orange. The color scheme was like brown and orange and gray, which sounds ugly, but it looked more like fall-y.
Sure.
They were wearing like nice
Pumpkin
coats and
spice.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. Except for Wanwoo. His pants were really ugly. They were brown and they were fuzzy and they were bad. But Wanwoo like walked up the stairs, got Jonghan, and then Koops came out with all the rest of the members and then like started the choreo on the floor. But yeah, I think that's
my
all I
only
have for
note for
Not
this
Alone.
one is that this song had a really cool lift in it. They
Yes,
I
the
think it was
choreo.
Jonghan. They just like lifted him up on like
think it's
their
Hoshi.
maybe. But there was a very cool like levitaty kind of lift where they was like they lifted him straight up by his feet. I don't know. It was very cool.
Yes, there's a very cool lift. And I was a little bit confused because part of this song and part of the choreo I thought was My, which is that song where the music video, they're like on like an airboat and like through the clouds and stuff. Because there's lifts in that choreo too. And the songs do sound a little similar, but I'm again, like 98% sure that it was not Alone and not My Mai, because they did not say My Mai at any point in it. And my notes in the dark said it was Japanese, so that's got to be right. But then we transitioned into Home, and the transition was really cute. I have that they, like, one of the members just asked, like, hey, what do you tell Carats when you miss them? And then they start with the first lyric of Home. But I have a question, because I have that as being transitioned straight from the brown and orange outfits. But my note from the theater says that their outfits in this match the Bittersweet outfits of the like dusty
I wrote
pale
silky pink shirts. So that's the first thing I wrote. So they must have immediately like.
But there's no cut transition, because I have the way I wrote it was that the way I wrote it and the way I remember it is that we just like finished Not Alone, turned to someone, said, hey, what do you say when you miss Carats? And then it just like started with Home, but they're in different outfits. So I don't remember how that transitioned or how they cut to it or whatever, but these are the notes that I have. I don't know.
But this was this version of Home. It was like a reimagined, like vibey drive soundtrack city pop version of Home. Like,
I wrote yacht rock rearrangement.
Okay, but like they like changed all of the instrumentation to be like super 80s and like it was so cool.
It was so good.
I loved it.
It was so good. And then.
Oh, my only other note is Mingyu is so tall. Because I think there were like moments where, because like however in the dance formation, he just looked like exceptionally so much taller than all of them. And I had to write it down.
Well, especially without June and Minghao in there, I feel like he
looks like a real
out.
giant.
Yeah. So then we go back to some interviews, and Uzi is reflecting on the 7 years that they have been 17. And it seems like the production staff asked them for like a memorable moment from their years.
Somebody were like, my most memorable moment is what I wrote. So I think that must have been the prompt.
Yeah. And almost all of them talk in some way about the Ode to You World Tour.
But the Japanese concert specifically.
Yes.
And that's what they focus on.
Yeah. They focused on like the energy from the crowds. And I think it's DK tells a story about his in-ears where they were like crawling under the stage to like get ready, and he usually just performs with his in-ears in, but he took them out because he wanted to hear the crowd, and the crowd was so loud that he got really scared and put them back in. And then we get like a montage of the like Ode to You rehearsals, and then the crowd and the concert footage, and it lingers on the crowd and the fan chants.
And somebody says, Carats keep me alive. I wrote that down.
Yes. Yeah. Because they're all talking about like the importance of the Carats.
They're
and
doing
like,
that whole sappy thing.
Right, because they were also like the beginning of this, like before they start talking specifically about the Japanese concert, they were generally reflecting on like memorable things from their 7 years, and all of them talk about like the love that they've received from the Carats and blah. You've heard it all before. So then we cut to the encore, and in the moment, I thought this song was Thinking About You, but I don't think it is. I think it was To You. That is what several... I don't know, man. There were conflicting reports. I did find that like at the actual concert, they did do Thinking About You as an encore stage, but they also did To You, and I think that's the one that they filmed. I don't know for sure, but that's what I think.
Yeah, I can't help because the only thing I have written at this moment is that they were wearing casual clothes and sitting on a like diamond shaped like wooden stage that like rose up in the back, so there was like levels, but they were all just like sitting wearing like beanies and hoodies and bucket hats.
They're wearing like their tour concert shirts or whatever, and I wrote that Joshua was wearing an LA beanie.
Yes, he was.
But yeah, so they just sit on the stage and they sing it like sitting down, and then we get like a voiceover of the importance of Carats and like the feeling of Carats love, and we see the members from behind this like clear whiteboard, and they are all writing a message to the Carats.
To me, Carats are blank.
Yes.
Was like the prompt they all had to write.
Yeah.
And I think this was a part where some of them did start to say their names, but again, it was like never written in English or whatever. Like, I feel like maybe it was like, I'm Bu Sung Kwan and the carrots are blank. Like, maybe some of them like said their names at this moment. But this was one of the parts where I felt like the movie, I mean, I get very sleepy and I had to go potty. And this was like the part of the movie where I was starting to be like, all right, let's go. Because I think it's great. Like, it's nice that all 13 of them got a moment. But giving 13 people like a moment to like slowly and poetically say like, I love you and you mean everything to it takes a lot of time. Like,
it does.
This ending part started to really feel like it was dragging because they were like just letting them say over and over and over again. Like,
it
I
was
love
a very
the carrots
similar
and,
message. Similar message from everyone. I think it was Uzi who wrote something about Uzi or Dino, I don't remember. One of them wrote something about how carrots are the 0th member.
I think Coops wrote 0th member.
Oh, was it Coops? I didn't write down who did it, but I did write down that the audience in the theater laughed
pretty hard at that one.
And then we go back to a second encore stage, which was All My Love. I feel pretty confident in naming that was All My Love. And now they are like standing with mics, wearing the same like casual outfits that they were wearing in the first encore. And this one is a little bit goofier. They're like kind of playing around.
Silly runoff. At the end, they like do like a runoff, like a vocal runoff.
Well, first Woozy riffs for like a full like 30 seconds. Like it just naturally in the song like goes off and you think he's done and he's not. He keeps going. And then the song ends with this like endless riff off. Like you think that they're done and then someone like piles on. And I thought that was a really funny, like instead of doing an endless Aju Nice, like just to do an endless riff off. Like that was hilarious. I loved it. And then they all say goodbye. They like stand in a line. They do their say the name and they bow. And they do like a quick ment about how it's the last online concert and then they really miss Carats. And you think it's over.
But it's certainly not.
But it's not.
Because then was this the part where we got the like, it was like, it seemed like it was the footage from the Japanese concert, which I wondered if the reason that was the one they focused on, if that's the one that Hybe has the rights to the footage still, like if that's what the one they had to focus on because it was the one that was filmed. But it's like the audience, we get the audience being like, encore, encore, encore. And then they sang?
No, that happens after. Later? Because first we get interviews of all the members and the question was something like, what will you do at your next in-person stage? Like, what will your reaction be? And DK said he would cry and Dino said he would be cheeky and say like, you missed us, right? And like Jonghan was like, I'm just going to get emotional. And then some of the other members were like, oh, we'll say thank you for waiting for us, blah. And then we get the TV, the little retro TV.
The retro TV.
And that's where we get the Ode to You encore stages. So we get the concert footage and audio of not only saying encore, but the Carats singing Our Dawn is Hotter Than the Day. And so like the footage on the TV is the Carat crowd, like in one of those in-between moments in the concerts, like when they're not there, like probably before the encore, the Carats are all singing together Our Dawn is Hotter Than the Day. And they obviously showed that footage to the members because then we get clips or like cuts from the different members watching the Carats singing Our Dawn and the members sing along. And it is the whole song of Our Dawn.
And it was so loud. This part was like louder than the rest of the movie, I think, to like try and be like, listen to the crowd. But like all I could write was like, this is so loud. Because it was like 50,000 people screaming the song at the top of their lungs but also like they fade in the 17 version kind of under it. And like, I just remember this part being like, oh my God, it's so loud.
Yeah. And then we get the clear whiteboard again, title of the movie, and then individual member credits where you see each of the members, I think, like standing by the whiteboard. And it says
starring.
Like, starring. And then their stage name.
Finally, their names.
Only their stage names. And they are in the weirdest order. I couldn't determine any sort of logic for this order. They are not in age order. They are not according to units. They are not alphabetical. There is no rhyme or reason for the order that they are in. They just showed them all. And then we get, as the actual credits roll on the side, we get a little like picture in picture of left and right, the encore stage from the concert, and which includes in the middle of it a curtain call for the dancers, which was really cute.
Mm-hmm. And that was it.
And that was it.
That was the movie.
That was the movie.
And it was a great time. And I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, I had a great time.
I liked that this one was like majority concert. And again, I could just literally just play a concert DVD and a movie.
We don't need anything else.
We don't need any of this middle stuff. Like some of it is fun and like there were a few like funny anecdotes in this or whatever. But like I said, same with the Monsta X movie. Like the last 20 minutes of people just consistently repeating themselves of like, the pandemic is hard and I'd really like to see my fans and I love my fans. And it's like, yeah, we know. We know. You don't have to like keep saying it like just to keep, because it feels like at a point that they're just doing it to keep the movie going, and it's like I don't need you to say anymore, really.
Yes, I agree. It feels like it starts to feel like filler in the third act, and I just feel like it was a little bit of a bummer in the sense that at least with 17, because they are a self-producing group, there was a lot of potential to have actual like meat in it. Like if you like really wanted to have an interview, recording footage,
dance practice stuff.
Yeah, the dance practice, talking about the process of choreography, maybe even talking about a specific song that like the choreo had to be changed or whatever. Like I just feel like whoever is making these movies should probably hire like an actual journalist to write it, because the way that the interviews are structured is very meandering.
Yeah.
And there seems to be no thesis and no like point to the movie. It can't decide if it's a documentary or a concert or a music video. Like it just doesn't know what it is. And so it needs more direction.
Yeah, I said when we got back to the car that like I'm sad that no K-pop documentary has yet to live up to the Spice Girls concert documentary I had when I was a child. It was Spice Girls Live in Istanbul, and it like told the whole story of the Spice Girls, like how they all got found and whatever. And then the rest of it was in between the songs, was like behind the scenes footage of them getting ready for this world tour and like cooking together and trying on their outfits, and like it was the best, and I just want a K-pop version of that.
Yeah, why can't we have that?
Why can't we have that? I don't know. But we have a ton of comments and voicemails from our listeners.
People saw this movie and they all had something to say.
So we are going to go through these, and we have a whole lot, and we're short on time, so apologies in advance if that we may edit a response for time. But we love you and we read it anyway. All right, let's start with an email from Tamina. It says, "Dear Shannon and dear Angelica, what can I say? 17 did it again and made my life a bit better. The movie was so comforting and fun to watch. I had a tough week, but since 17 is my comfort group, it was perfect timing for me to watch the movie. I really liked how they paired the concert performances with the interview section because it gave the audience time to process the performance, and man, I really needed those breaks. The concert on the big screen with the huge audio system in my local cinema was amazing, but a bit overwhelming. Some thoughts about the movie. The cameras loved Jonghan, which I love too. Jonghan, the beautiful man that he is wrecking me so hard. LOL. Agreed. Hoshi's Horangi power was so adorable. I loved how Hoshi and Dino got to perform solo songs since Jun and Minghao have been in China. And I liked how they handled the Network Love performance, even though computer-generated Jun and Minghao made me a bit uncomfortable, but I guess that's my problem. Speaking of Network Love, excuse me, but have you seen their female backup dancers? They were stealing the show. I couldn't keep my eyes on Vernon or Joshua. Joshua is a star. Every time the camera was on him, I was mesmerized by his aura. The hip-hop unit performing ballads is my favorite thing. I hope they keep that concept. Also, Wanwoo and Mingyu's performance of Bittersweet with those outfits and stage design was beautiful. The vocal unit performing Same Dream, Same Mind, Same Night, knowing how much Jonghan struggled with the recording made me feel very proud. Sadly, they didn't perform my favorite vocal unit songs. Snapshoot styling was wild. Ready to Love always hit so hard. I loved the remix of Home, and I wish made Home so much more romantic. As Coops and Dino switching their parts and left and right was adorable. The interviews were heartwarming, funny, and touching. And 17 on a big screen just hits harder. I had a great time. I went by myself, which was not uncomfortable at all. I talked to a few girls and found a new friend, and we even spent some time together after the movie.
Oh, cute.
I probably forgot a ton, so I'm really looking forward to listening to your review and opinions about the movie. Wish you the best, Tamina.
All right, our next message comes from Julia, and Julia sent in a voice memo. She wrote, "I'm so happy that you're doing a 17 Movie Club episode. I wanted to share my thoughts with you. I'm a bit nervous because I've never recorded myself before, but here goes. I hope this is usable."
Hi, this is Julia. I wanted to share my thoughts on the 17 Power of Love movie with you. I watched it yesterday and I'm still overcome with 17 feelings, but I'll try to be as coherent as possible. I've only been a K-pop fan for the last 2 years and I've watched 5 17 concerts and current lands online. Shout out to my concert buddies Eva and Chris. But this was my first real-life 17 experience with other people and it was amazing. Alike Carats are awesome. People went ooh and ah and clapped and cheered after each song. I'd watched the concert online, but I'd totally forgotten just how amazing these performances were. I could write a whole dissertation on this, but I'll try to make this brief, so here are my 3 favorite performances. Oh My Love. This is one of my favorite 17 songs, and I loved how happy and loose the members were at the end of the concert. Seungkwan and Dino were super cute, and when Seungkwan glommed onto Mingyu, I was like, oh. Horangi Power. Hoshi is my bias, and I first watched this performance in November, it almost destroyed me. Seeing him on the big screen was worse. I just managed to put myself together, and then he did it again yesterday. I Can't Run Away. This is my favorite 17 song from last year. It's so beautiful. I can't believe this is a so-called hip-hop unit. They could all be in the vocal unit. Well, in 17, all units are kind of vocal units, right?
Right.
Actually, the unit bits were my favorite new thing that I hadn't seen before. Hearing more about the hip-hop unit's writing process was really fascinating, and hearing the vocal unit describing themselves as a bunch of weirdos that are quiet on their own but get loud when they're together is just perfect. Another favorite moment was right at the end when they're writing on that glass wall with white marker. My bias line consists of 4 members, basically a third of the group, and they all went one after the other. I was like, oh, this is for me. My only regret is that there were too many cuts and close-ups in some performances. It made it harder to appreciate the choreographies for me. Sometimes they would close in right before my favorite choreo bits, and there were some new dance breaks that I would have loved to see in their entirety. But that's a minor complaint in between all the awesomeness. I absolutely loved it. It was a really special experience, and I can't wait for the new album and for the world tour. I really, really hope they'll come to Germany or at least somewhere in Europe. Looking forward to hearing your and other Carats' thoughts on the episode. I love your podcast. Thanks so much for all your hard work. Listening to you makes me really happy. Bye.
Oh, thank you, Julia. And thank you for confirming that second encore song was All My Love. I had doubts, but now I know.
Now we know. All right, we have another voice recording from our friend Chris. And Chris saw a 4DX version.
Gasp! What does that
this
even
movie,
mean?
which I think it's the chairs that shake.
Ooh, fun!
I think it is. I don't know. Let's find out. So let's hear what Chris had to say.
Hey, Shannon and Angelica. It's Chris in San Francisco. Resident Carrot here in the Bay Area. I wanted to contribute my thoughts on 17, the Power of Love movie experience. I actually watched it twice this week. I went on the Wednesday and the Saturday. I went to 2 different theaters, but I went to both the 4DX experience, which I don't know if you guys got a chance to check that out or if any other listeners got to, but 4DX is basically the thrill ride version of the concert where all the seats are jacked onto these hydraulic platforms that move along with the music. You know, this whole thing is really meant for big action movies, but with 17, it was a really jolting, really dynamic experience and definitely unexpected on Wednesday. I thought that, we'd get a gentle buzz or some cute effect or something. No, this was throwing me in really, truly jostling ways. Like, there was a point where I was like, could I get whiplash from this? And it was, holy crap, like, that part, the times in concerts or in Going 17 or Inside 17 when Wanu goes and grabs the camera and shakes it up and is like, "Wah!" That's his like shtick.
Yes.
That's the entire experience throughout Crush, just being thrown about as these guys are yelling about you being their crush, which, I mean, who, there's nothing else I would want in this movie experience except to be thrown around and being yelled at by these guys. And then with Woozy coming out with his little Eddie Van Halen thing for Clap, I just, all together was just a little too much. It was just a lot. But of course, going into some of the more groovy things like Network Love, like that started to feel a little more like aftershocks, like just like kind of jolts after having such a big tremor from the big songs from Crush, Anyone, and Clap. And then Ready to Love, they had this whole background of stormy weather in their background and pedals streaming across the stage. And in the theater, there was like wind effects. And yeah, I was about to feel a little seasick, to be honest. It was a lot. But yeah, going into like some of the other songs, like, Bittersweet especially was kind of this nice kind of rocking motion. And I was like, wow, like that's exactly what I want from that. And all of the, vocal unit songs, actually all the hip hop unit songs, they were doing much more soft songs. And so there was kind of a nice gentle rocking of the seats rather than being thrown about. But of course, getting to the end and just like all the biggest special effect really was, the tears, as much genuine feelings I think that they had for, being able to put this together outside of having, live concerts in anticipation of them being able to tour. So I'm looking forward to that. I won't have the same experience of being thrown through an amusement park ride, but maybe that's for the better. I'm happier being with Carrots and rocking a stadium or an arena. It was fun. It really was fun, but definitely unexpected. And I would do it again if somebody else had, a similar kind of big show, like a Stray Kids or frankly BTS. Something else that's, kind of noisy. It would be kind of perfect. Actually, it might be overwhelming. It was sensational, if you will. Okay. Anyways, thanks for doing an episode about it because I'm excited to hear what you guys thought and what the other Alike Carats liked about the movie too. All right. Talk to you soon.
Wow. First of all, great pun, sensational. But also, yeah, that sounds truly wild. That sounds like an insane experience.
I never would have even thought that they would offer that because I've seen a Harry Potter movie and I can't remember what the other one is, but me and my old roommate in college used to go to 4DX movies like whenever we got the chance because they are really silly, but I would never have thought of this for like a concert. Like, yeah, just getting shaken around to different songs. It's very funny.
The only movie I've ever seen like that is called The Story of Texas, and it's at the Texas State History Museum, and like rattlesnake, like something like pops out of your seat when they talk about rattlesnakes and you get like misted during the Galveston hurricane, and that's all. That's the only one I've ever seen. But it would be fun to see one in a theater, real theater. All right, we have another voice memo. This one comes from Eva, we'll find out. And she says, may this episode manifest a 17 World Tour with great seats for anyone who listens. So gotta speak that to the world.
Hi, Shannon and Helga. It's Eva from the Netherlands. I hope you're well. I hope you really liked the movie. I for sure did. I went to see it both times. The first time with my roommate. And there were a lot of other Carrots singing, dancing, clapping along. So it was really one big party. As for the movie, I gotta say it first. I always thought I didn't really had an outstanding bias. But Mingyu
too handsome.
Is the most beautiful goddamn person there is out there. And to see his face on a big screen, I was blown away. It was a privilege. He's so pretty. It was so good. I caught myself trying to find his face every time. And the moment the Krish performance started, and I knew we would get a high kick from Mingyu on the big screen, just that right there in my face. Oh, it was great. It was really great. I also really liked the movie. For an encore of a concert with here and there some comments, it was great. It was a nice look back. I actually did see the concert online live as well. But my roommate, however, she fairly pointed out that it would be way more interesting to at some point get a movie that would actually showcase the journey towards the concert or actual behind the scene footage, because for her it really felt like just performances and the same old of a K-pop group telling the fans how much they love them.
Very fair.
And well, it would be interesting, of course, in that way. But, they could have shown anything for me on a big screen, and I would have loved it anyway. It's great. I did hope they would show Jun and Minghao a bit more. Not that I probably would have noticed, because I was staring at Mingyu all the time. But whatever. I hope you really liked it. I can't wait for a deep dive someday. The first episode would be just introducing all 13 members probably, because you will need the time. And then a second episode to discuss whatever, It's up to you, but just putting it up there. I hope everyone else enjoyed it as well. I hope we get the world tour pretty soon, and it will be my first time seeing them, hopefully. So yeah, I hope you liked it as well. And thank you for the podcast. Love you.
We love you too.
I wish that, I'm so glad to hear that people have been, that other audiences were very interactive. That's what I wanted. And neither of our audiences for Monsta X or 17 were rowdy or cheering or dancing or clapping or anything. And so I'm glad it was a party for other people.
Yeah. And I also wondered if I would have felt less sleepy in the third act of both movies if the vibe had just been a little more if everyone had been really excited, if it would have kept
kept the momentum going a little bit more.
All right, our next email is from our dear Susie, and Susie organized her thoughts into different categories. So let's start with her main takeaways. The first quarter did me in. I knew 17 were good performers. I just didn't know / thought they were so cool. The leather outfits combined with the dancing and my immediate affinity for Dino, I was destroyed. I was sitting by myself and I kept looking around at the empty seats around me in disbelief, are y'all seeing this? Because wow. This was not made for someone who doesn't know 17. Unless I missed it, they never had their names on the screen, and I was starting to think that I had made Wonwoo up because I couldn't figure out which one he was between him and DK until they said DK's name at the very end of the vocal unit segment, and it confirmed that they are not the same person.
I have to say, Susie mentions at the beginning of her email that she's just a casual fan, so a lot of the songs and choreo were things she had not seen before.
And I love that a casual fan went to this movie so much. So a question from Susie is, I am interested to hear whether Carats and more active fans of 17 liked the talking segments. And so far, I think we're all a little, we've only Ava specifically brought it up, but she agrees with us that they're a little repetitive. They take up a lot of time of the movie.
There are good moments.
There's some good moments
when they speak specifically, I think, about the work that they do together,
or tell fun stories, or little things we might not know.
Because 17 is such an entertaining group with such distinct personalities. I think it would have been very easy to make a movie about them, and this really didn't, I think, take advantage of all the stories they really could have told us.
Yeah. So here are some of Susie's dislikes. To further my question, I don't want to be too negative, but every time the talking segments came up, I was just waiting for them to be done so that we could get back to the performances. It was repetitive, stuff that we knew, and just a bummer. We miss the fans. We miss performing in persons. Fuck COVID. I know, same. Please just go back to the performances so we can forget about COVID for a bit. It was good to get June and the 8 in there, though. The editing, it really came across as super low budget and kind of disruptive. That old TV shot looked only slightly better than a PowerPoint video. The performances were fine, though. I'm assuming it's just a Beyond Live edit situation. On the other hand, the Monster X movie had such insanely good editing of the performances that really heightened the viewing experience. I would just like to get that with all K-pop movies. Not sure if it was all the English showings or just mine, but I would have liked to see translations for the song lyrics, especially because the hip hop unit spoke so much about writing lyrics in their talking segment. Good point. I like the black outfits at the beginning and the pinky frilly shirts, but I cannot say the same for the rest of the styling. Sweat smile emoji. And some specifics. The second song and Clap rock version were so cool. Clap was stuck in my head for the rest of the night. There was a pulsing move that they did during the bridge of possibly Clap. And I don't remember which song, but my note was, this whole is so cool. Also that I can only assume was the song Crazy Love, that vertical body roll. My note was madness. What the fuck? Especially when Jonghan does it.
If by vertical body roll you just mean booty shake in a circle,
it's just
then
the booty shake in a circle. And it's my favorite part. And yes, Jonghan was fucking crazy.
Is rude in that. They're all very rude in that song.
There was one shot of Joshua during the Ready to Love performance that was so beautiful it took my breath away. Dino's spin dance move during his solo was super cool. Bittersweet, my note was, what the fuck was that? Wanwoo and Mingyu didn't make eye contact the whole time, and I think that's what they were going for. And if it was, the portrayal of longing and forced disinterest really came across. I think that might have been my favorite song from the movie that I didn't already know. Vernon doing falsetto in that second hip-hop song, gasp emoji, heart eye emoji, Woozy's blonde hair and voice, what a killer combo. The last 45-ish seconds of the second vocal song was amazing, all those ad-libs. I was a little shocked that they didn't stand in a long line of steps on that staircase that Jonghan walked up just to walk back down them.
Agreed.
All in all, I might be upping my status from casual fan to fan over the next few weeks. I have big plans to ask a lot of follow-up questions in the Discord, maybe some tips for telling Wanwoo and DK apart, haha, hopefully some recs for similar performances. Looking forward to the episode. Cheers, Susie in Canada.
Nice. Susie, I would say my biggest clue for, they have different face shapes, but DK always smiles with all of his teeth and his eyes become perfect crescent moons. And Wanwoo is usually more of a closed-lipped smile kind of guy. And he wears a lot of glasses.
Oh yeah, those are good tips.
Yeah. Also, I know that I have created I know there's a pinned tweet or pinned post in the Discord where I did my 17 starter pack, but I think other people have made them too. So there's resources for you. All right, this next email comes from Telma. Hello, Shannon and Angelica. I'm Telma, longtime listener here. I went to see 17's movie this Saturday, and I had an amazing time. The room was full of carrots who sang and cheered throughout the movie, and it was honestly a really wholesome experience. First things first, I was not ready to see all the members' beautiful faces on such a big screen. All their interview outfits looked so soft, and I was on the verge of tears 90% of the movie. I have never been to a 17 concert, cries in European, so being able to experience such iconic songs like Clap or Crazy in Love with other fans was amazing. And needless to say that everyone was losing their minds over the booty shaking and Crazy in Love. Yes. I may or may not have screamed when Woozy played guitar too. My bias is Dokyeom, and listening to his amazing vocals and great audio quality was a blessing. One thing that I found hilarious was when they introduced the hip-hop team. The song that played was Unhangilchi, a very rap-heavy track, but then they proceeded to sing all the ballads, which was quite fun and reminded me of you. Although I wish they had sang older songs, I was happy to listen to Attica because it's such a great album. Overall, I had a great time singing along to my faves, and that's all I can ask for. I also would like to add a thank you because Angelica is a big part of why I got curious about 17 since you mentioned them on the show so much. Now they are one of my ultimate biases, and they bring so much joy to my life. So thank you. Love from Portugal, Telma. You're welcome. It seems like all the European audiences really had a great time.
Yeah. I'm just like, in awe at how many places these emails have come from. I love how international our podcast is. It always blows my mind. All right, this next email is from Gabby. Longtime listener, first time emailer. I went to see 17's Power of Love this weekend with my boyfriend and we both had a great time. To be honest, I sometimes find it lonely in between comebacks, so seeing the boys on the big screen was reinvigorating for me. They all looked so happy, healthy, and strong. The interviews were really sweet and sincere, but also a lot funnier than I expected. Not 17, I know how funny they are, but the editing really highlighted their banter. My favorite part was Jonghan calling the vocal unit a bunch of weird guys. He's not wrong. Speaking of vocal unit, their stages had to be my favorite. As a vocal unit stan, I may be a bit biased, but the styling and set design were both amazing. The piano keys were so cool, and I loved hearing Same Dream, Same Mind, Same Night, and died when Sungkwan messed up the song title. Good to know it's not just me that gets confused. I want to give massive honorable mention to Dino's solo stage. He is such an insanely good performer. My jaw actually dropped several times. They don't call him the future king of K-pop for nothing.
The future of K-pop.
The future of K-pop.
Future of K-pop.
For nothing. I missed my boys Jun and Minghao in the stages, but so glad to hear Network Love. I would kill a man to see a performance with all four of them. Honestly, would kill a man just to see 17 in person again, but hopefully I won't have to. Tour announcement, mayhaps. Before I go, I want to thank my boyfriend Miguel, not only for going with me to see Power of Love, but for introducing me to ask me about K-pop. He got me to listen to the Fantasy Girl Group episode. He's a big U-Song fanboy, and I've been hooked ever since. Thrilled to be here with my fellow Carats. Hope you two enjoyed Power of Love like I did, and can't wait to listen to the Movie Club episode. Thanks for all you do, Gabby.
Cute. Thanks, Miguel. All right, our next email comes from Lena. These are very last minute comments, but I also took notes during the movie, so hopefully I haven't forgotten anything. I went Wednesday night, and in some ways, it felt like a celebration of my carrotdom because the concert in November was one of the first things I watched after becoming a fan. At that point, I was still in the Angelica patented stage of DK being my bias before my true bias, Wonwoo, chose me. But one of my only tweets from watching the concert originally was, Wonwoo said, tiny waist rights. Overall, the audience in my theater was pretty quiet, but this was my first time in a movie theater since the pandemic began, so I was glad it wasn't too overwhelming. I brought my light stick, but no one else had one lit, so I kept it off. I was in between a couple and a mother-daughter pair, and the daughter began absolutely going through it during Crazy in Love, and she looked even more distressed during Hero, which was really cute. The girlfriend on my other side and I gave small harangues after harangi power and made 8s when it was Minghao's turn in the credits sequence, which I appreciated. And when the credits showed Carats, her boyfriend said, "That's us." Oh my God, that's so cute. Fucking relationship goals.
I know. All these people get to take their boyfriends to things. I'm so jealous.
With my significant other. How fun. Okay, some other random notes. Anytime a K-pop boy dances with girls, an angel gets its wings. Yes. Minghao is more neck than he is man. Seeing them on the big screen has given me several freckles to investigate.
I felt the same way about like freckles and moles and things I'd never seen before on people because they were so big on the screen.
Normally, if I'm thinking about 17 ears, I'm thinking about Coops or Shua, but I've got plenty of ears to think about after seeing this. Vernon is allergic to lapels, so they put him in a hoodie. Has anything ever been more satisfying than a step touch? No, nothing has never been more satisfying. Thank you. God, I'm feeling really seen right now. Dokyeom's voice is so clear and his smile is so pretty. Ugh, yes. Joshua was put on this earth to stare directly into a camera. Home, parentheses, blouse version, turned me into a vampire. Okay, and her final note says, I also stayed an hour after the concert ended talking to some people from my row, including the mother-daughter pair. And it was funny because the 17-year-old daughter definitely thought I was close to her age when I'm actually closer to her mother's age. I had such a lovely time seeing these talented and beautiful boys on the big screen, and it was definitely the cherry on top to befriend some people I plan to see at a K-pop store opening in my town this week. Monsta X next month, fingers crossed, and hopefully some other shows in the future. Thanks as always for your hard work on the pod and cultivating such a fun and welcoming environment for new converts and seasoned fans alike. Oh, thanks, Lena.
I think that's it. I think that's all of our those are all of them. I don't think we missed any.
We didn't have like any voicemails.
No actual voicemails.
Okay,
people just sent in the emailed
Beautiful.
one. So that's everybody. But seriously, thank you guys so much for taking the time to send those. I'm so glad so many people got a second chance to see this. Like, more Encore shows. They should let these shows run longer. Like,
they should give them full, like more, not like a full movie run, but definitely like more than just a day. They give them like 3 days or like a weekend. Like, no, that's not enough. It's not even enough to like get the word out there.
Yeah.
But I'm glad, it was nice to have like a variety of fans too, like people who are hardcore Carats and then like more casual fans like go to the movie and then send us your thoughts. That was a nice variety. I'm glad everybody had a good time.
Yeah, I'm glad everybody had a good time too. And I just want more of these movies, and I also want 17 to come back because I miss 17 and I want to see 17.
Yeah, and at a certain point, we used to be able to see 17 like every year. And it's been a long time. And like, excuse me, but my annual 17, I know it's like I need my. It's 17
really been way
fix.
too long. But yeah, this was great, and thanks for all of the manifestations and well wishes for like 17 World Tour and ticks for everybody. We gotta do it.
A European stops this time. We can do it. We can do it.
So yeah, I hope everybody had a great time at the movies, and cheers to more K-pop movies, even if they are like repetitive and whatever. Let's just keep trying. Let's keep making some more, and we'll figure it out.
I mean, at the very least, we'll get really good performances out of the movies. And if I have to listen to the same statement about a fan's love 20 times in order to see that performance on the big screen, I will.
I'll take it. Yeah, for sure. All right, and with that, we'll be right back with our random game. All right, we are back. And this week, the random number generator gave us a boy group that's come up a few times on this show before, dear to our hearts, and that is Unique.
Yay, Unique. UNIQ, stylized, all in caps. Unique was... Technically, they're not really together anymore.
They're not like disbanded, but they haven't done anything in 4 years.
So Unique was a 5-member group that was originally supposed to have been a YG collaboration with a Chinese company called Yuhua Entertainment, but eventually the boys just debuted under Yuhua. So Yuhua is their like management company, and I believe all 5 members are still under Yuhua Entertainment. There are 2 Korean members and 3 Chinese members. So Zhao Yishua. Oh, fuck.
Oh no. Because I'm not doing these. So you.
I got this. Shu Yixuan, Kim Song-ju, Lee Wen-kwan, Cho Sung-yeon, and Wang Yibo. One of whom is Woods. Woods is here. Woods always pops up.
Sung-yeon.
This is what Woods is from.
Yes, Woods.
That's Woods. So they, like I said, originally supposed to be YG. All 5 members trained under YG, but eventually debuted under Yuhua. They debuted with the single called Falling in Love in 2014, which was released both in China and Korea, and they promoted both. Their debut stage was M Countdown, but they promoted in both China, Taiwan, and Korea. They eventually released their one and only EP, which is called EO EO, and then later made a Japanese debut as well. And they like promoted in different countries, but they eventually sort of like petered out, I suppose. They released like multiple singles. They never released another EP or a full studio album, but they've been on an indefinite hiatus since 2018. And it says, although they have not officially disbanded, the members have pursued independent projects. Yibo is an actor. He's in The Untamed and a bunch of other stuff. When Juan debuted on a group called U9, he was on a competition. Oh, no. Yixuan was on the competition show. He was the other Chinese member. He was on a competition show. No, actually, maybe it was what I don't remember. One of the Chinese members was on a competition show, and Yibo was one of the like mentors or like judges or whatever. And Yibo was the maknae of Unique, and I believe it's Wen Juan because I think he was the oldest. And so I just remember seeing like clips of like the older member being the like competitor and the younger member being the like mentor, and it was awkward and strange. But anyway, and then Songyeon Woods was on X1 as well. And Songju has since enlisted in the military. And yeah, it says Yishuan released a song called Remember That Day When We, which was dedicated to the unique members and fans, and released on the 6th anniversary of their debut in 2020. But that's like the last unique related thing that any of the members have done, sadly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The other interesting thing I see on here that I think is interesting is that they have a bunch of songs on the Chinese soundtracks of like big Hollywood movies,
Yes.
like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Penguins of Madagascar and SpongeBob the movie. Like they did Chinese soundtrack songs for those movies, which is cool.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I'm sure I have seen this music video before, but I'm
Probably.
excited to watch it anyway.
We are going to watch the music video for EO EO, which was the title track off of their
Only real
EP.
EP.
Yes. And EO EO, it's just like the letters. It's supposed to be like the sound of a siren. And this is their sluttiest song. So very excited. There's a purposeful ab reveal like
Right.
in the chorus choreo. But I will say that like I feel like this is not a good representative song of their music because none of their other songs sound like this. Not a one.
Okay.
So just know,
Good
if you
note.
really like this song and you go to like listen to the rest of their EP is fun. I personally think they make like perfect formulaic boy band music. This song is an outlier.
Okay.
It's a fucking great song, but just know that it's an outlier.
All right, so if you want to watch this with us, pull up Unique EO EO and press play when I say go. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, cages. Cages and lights hanging from wires. Oh, chains. Their chains are so big.
All right, so we've got like different shots. One of us is in front of big old speakers. We're looking like hip hop and cool. We've got backup dancers with masks on.
There's constant strobe lights. The like cuts between every moment are fast and shaky. It's a very frantic kind of.
Yeah. We already have a lot of shirtless backup dancers. Oh no, Yibo has cornrows in one shot.
Yes, he sure does.
That one is so hot, Songju.
Oh, we have some mannequins with neon paint on them. Okay, and then this little like refrain slow body roll and dances in like a glowy pyramid. Oh my god.
Wow, look at those big old braids. Oh, Yibo, they did bad things to your hair.
These dancers being so shirtless is very distracting.
It is very distracting, and I feel like you don't see that very often. Just like a fully shirtless backup dancer.
Oh, they have some fire.
There is also a performance version of this music video, which is just them in one. It's just like them in one room, like a dirt, whatever, and there's fire, and they just do the performance. I prefer that music video. There's no culturally appropriative hair in it. Ooh, but they just do it in
this part where
room.
the fire is. Are those tattoos real? Oh,
No, they're not real.
Because I know Woods has lots of big tattoos.
Yes, but this is when they're babies.
Oh my god, the backup dancers are crawling and they're riding them like dogs. That was wild. Oh no, the neon paint, it's everywhere.
That was Woods. Fast rapping. That one, so fine.
I mean, this is definitely not a group with uggos in it.
Oh no, they're all good looking. When we first watched
the
them,
dancers are doing the craziest shit.
there it is.
Oh, there's our ab lift.
It happens multiple times in the actual choreo, so I recommend the performance version of this. Yeah,
Wow.
unique.
Unique.
I fucking love that song. Every time it comes on, I like blare it. It's such a good one. There's also a dance practice version of that.
Well, there you go.
If you want to watch it.
All right. It's weekly recommendation time, and I, honest to God, have not even opened my computer since last week. Like, I watched Queendom. Like, keeping up with Queendom 2 is kind of the only thing I have going on in my life. A Monster X comeback happened today. I have not watched it
I watched
yet.
the teaser for that music video and was like, ooh, it sounds funky and sexy and cool. Haven't watched it yet, though. But yeah, I have nothing to I don't have anything to recommend.
I don't have anything other than to say, like, even if you are not watching Queendom 2, I really think that everybody should be watching the stages from Queendom 2.
Oops, sorry.
It's okay. Because they're fucking great. And I mean, last week's state round was cover songs. So people like reimagined beautiful stuff. Like Luna's reimagined version of Shake It, I just saw today, like broke some kind of record for all the Queendom Kingdom shows for like downloads or something.
Wow.
Because they did like a fun big band version of it. Hyolyn did a Luna song and like made it crazy. Brave Girls redid a Kepler song and made it crazy. Like, I don't know, there's great,
The covers were really good.
If you don't have time to watch Queendom, which I don't think most people have time to watch Queendom, it's 2 hours long every week. It's really a lot, but watch the stages. Just watch the stages and appreciate some like achievements in K-pop performance. I think that's like the only thing I've seen that I can recommend. And like, if you're not watching those, you should look them up.
And I always love seeing idol groups cover another idol's songs.
Yeah.
And these are fun because they have to make them their own in some way. But I actually do have a relevant recommendation, which is the Baby The 8. He put out another art music video, and it's called Abyss. If you just type in The 8 contemporary art, it will show up. It's like a 4.5 minute video. It's a dance to, I believe it's just an instrumental. It might be him singing in it. I know at the very end it uses a clip from Ha Chang, his like recent Chinese single that he put out, which is a ballad. But it's a like super modern contemporary dance. Like if you don't like modern dance, don't watch it because it's artsy as fuck. But it's exactly what I love. Yeah. And it like starts with him like he's like falling in water and like in white and flowy, and then it goes to like him in a warehouse and he does this like incredible dance sequence with male and female backup dancers, and there's like a part of it that's like a partner dance. It's very cool. I love my artiste. The 8 contemporary art Abyss.
Beautiful. Love that. That's perfect. All right. Well, that is it for this week. Again, thank you to everybody who watched the 17 movie and took time to write us or leave us a message so that we could include you in the episode. I love doing things together.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
And I love that some people made friends at the theater. That's cute.
I know. I think that's so great. So if you would like to get in contact with us, we can be found at AMAK Kpop Pod on Twitter and Instagram, amakpoppod@gmail.com. 181 AMAK Kpop 5 is our phone number, and I learned this week that you can text that number.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're too scared to leave us a voicemail but want to like send a text, you can do that. Whatever you want. That number, that's how it works. It's a voicemail or you can text it. But if you call it, I won't pick it up. That's the deal. But you can do that. We also have P.O. Box 26096, Los Angeles, California, 90026. If you want to send us mail. Patreon.com/AMAKPopPod. As previously mentioned, I'm doing Queendom 2 recaps. So even if you aren't watching Queendom 2 and just need to know context in between the performances I just told you to watch, you can listen to me recap Queendom 2 every single week on Patreon. We usually do Patreon once a month, but right now it's weekly till Queendom is over as a special treat.
Hey.
So you can check that out. And linktree/AMAKPop will take you to playlists and
all of these things.
All of these things where you can find us and go to our Discord and talk to other people and have a great time. And that's all. And we'll be back next week. And we love you. And goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jonghyun, you're our inspiration.